We have had some technical problems.
And hello, guys. Happy Monday. Welcome to StreamGeeks. It's been quite a while since we've been live, but I'm so excited to be back on your computers, tablets, cell phones, and other devices. We've got an exciting show planned for you today. We're talking all about influencer marketing, a very exciting buzzword that's around. Let's figure out what that's all about. All this and more coming up next. All right. It's fun to see that little clip again. I haven't watched that intro in quite a while. So let's talk about what we have going on today. We'll start things off with our squares. That's right. We're bringing back the old squares. Today we're talking about influencer marketing with an influencer himself and friend of ours, Mr. Mike Nappi, local musician, artist extraordinaire. We're going to start things off in the studio. Today we're being produced by Mr. Paul Richards. Michael's out today, so Paul is taking the reins. If there's any issues, you know why.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be producing this show. Mike is always back here and I miss it. It's so much fun to be behind the producer's desk. So Tess, take it away.
After our lovely interview with Mr. Mike Nappi, we're going to take things mobile. We're going to do a live performance in the streets of Westchester, so you guys are going to get to hear some live music. Luckily, this time it's not Paul and myself, so it might actually be entertaining. After that, we're going to take things back to the podcast studio and finish things out with the meat of the show today, which is talking all about influencer marketing and self-branding. So let's get into it and introduce our esteemed guest today. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Glad to be back.
It's always fun to hang out and see you. It's been a while.
It has. I've been away and I'm glad to come back home to StreamGeeks.
Yeah.
It's always a good convo. All of you are always so ahead of everything, especially on this coast.
I don't know. You're pretty close to us on that one.
Well, that's why we bond. It's better to be allies in this situation,
exactly.
You know?
And you were talking about being on the East Coast, not as many people understand kind of the way to do things now with digital marketing. Mm-hmm. But then on the West Coast, where you've been spending a lot of time, you think things are a lot different.
Yeah, they seem to be more in tune with the type of messages StreamGeeks has been putting out.
And that's really interesting for me to hear about, just the difference in tone for how to grow yourself, your brand, and your channel, just on the other side of the country. I mean, we're the same country, but
yeah, really
interesting. So a couple things that we've done with Mike, you guys may or may not remember. We did a fun little stream at Castle Bam. Mm-hmm. Is that the terminology?
That's the term.
Okay, so we had a lot of fun doing that. We got to stream one of your performances there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was to 3,000 people, right?
Something, I don't know. I just know it was crazy.
That was a huge festival. That festival funded his new skate barn now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And that was crazy because I know he charged for people to get in, which was insanely smart of him. He used his platform to reach everybody and stir up some commotion about it, all within a few days. Right?
Yeah. 3 days.
Now, the one thing we were saying, man, and our audience agrees with us, if he just charged $1 per virtual ticket for that stream,
gold mine,
he would have just crushed it. I mean, even farther than what he had done. But
and that you're absolutely right. And that what you're capable of doing here, it's common. It's second nature for you all, but it's still so new to so many people. Virtual tickets, what's that? But it's genius.
Yeah.
Because so many more people would pay, to get as close as they could.
Yeah, I know I would. And beyond that, which was a lot of fun, a great experience, we were talking about virtual ticket sales. Let's talk a little bit about your past 4 months on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing over there?
Pursuing the music. I had gone to California a few times and just studied how social media was really the catalyst behind all artists' careers. Mm-hmm. Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and then Facebook, and all of them, Snapchat. How the new way is making your followers, which are potential consumers, to buy into your lifestyle emotionally, and then want to support it. And over there, it's a standard. Whereas over here, it's still kind of new. There's people that are doing it on the East Coast, of course, and succeeding around the world. But over there, you can learn more.
Yeah, we were having lunch and Mike mentioned something that was interesting. Like people are kind of looking at you funny walking over here with a camera vlogging. But on the West Coast, that's kind of, you'd see everybody with cameras.
Yep. Yeah, a lot more people are doing it.
Yeah.
You still got to work hard. That's what separates like the millions of people doing it. But I connected with the right ones and learned a lot. And the video marketing is key for artists.
Yeah, and that's been huge for you on your growth strategy as far as Instagram. I see you on there all the time. I see you on Facebook making your beats, which is so much fun and so clever the way you try and tag on brands, which I don't know if you'll be comfortable talking about this. Maybe later we can chat about maybe where that has led. But so you went to California to pursue opportunities for content creation and building relationships in the music industry. Let's talk about the crazy thing that happened to you.
Sure. So, well, shout out to my good friend and creative partner, often Jeb Cardi. He is the one who brought me out and allowed me to stay at his place and pursue what I had to do. He's the one that got me an artist pass for Coachella.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep. So he's a very important partner in all of this. And so we go to Coachella. We have anywhere we want to go, backstage, anything.
Not jealous or anything?
It was a real blessing. And so we're back there, and all of a sudden Jeb's like, oh, there's Logan Paul. And side note, the first time I had been in LA a few years ago, he and I had been talking about Logan Paul, studying how he's pioneering and changing the game. So I really have seen like all of his stuff. So we're like, oh wow, there's Logan Paul. All right, let's walk up here and go sit down, and then we'll say what's up.
You're playing it cool.
Playing it cool. As cool as it can get. So as we're walking up, then it's like, there's Little Dicky. There's Benny Blanco.
Shut up. You did not see Little Dicky.
Yeah.
Don't even say that to me.
Yeah.
He's
this is
like
all
my top 2 favorite artists.
This is like all within 5 minutes.
Did you get a picture with him? Did you say hi to him?
No, because it happened so
what was he like?
fast.
Tell me everything.
He was cool and humble. Benny Blanco, he does a lot of. So they were like 2 best friends on vacation. Now I realize that his song Earth was probably already done. So he's like at Coachella about to celebrate something that's going to go.
Genius of him.
Yeah.
That's genius. Like the master and influence and collaboration right there with that song. So.
Yep. Oh, big time. And so then I say hi to them, and then I'm like, well, me and Jeb are like, let's go walk back over here, and then we'll introduce ourselves to Logan. By the time we sat down, Logan approached us. So Logan came up to us and dared us to jump into this like private pond. And I took it upon myself to take it a step further and say, we'll jump in if I can rap for you. So I did that.
Bold move.
Yeah, did that, killed it, impressed them, and then that just shot the numbers. Like,
we've got a clip. I think that's going to just share the true excitement and power of this little moment here. So let's check that out. Do we have audio on that?
It's probably like 75% in.
Like, it's going to really go far for my family.
Oh yeah, you have to go backwards. Wait.
Forward.
Okay, forward.
Yeah. It's all good.
Oh, are you serious? All right, well then we're definitely gonna.
Let Austin intimidate
That's
you.
fine.
You can do it. I will Venmo you $1,000 if you hop in this random man-made pond.
Hey, I'll Venmo him his boy 1,000. 1,000. So okay, together.
2K on the line. All right. Both of y'all? $2,000, 1,000 each. Look, again, bro, you don't have to.
I would change my family, and then I'll prove to you it's not a waste of time.
Yo, I guess we gotta.
Are you about to do it?
Mm-hmm.
You're about to jump in?
About to jump in.
Now, this is Logan Paul's video.
Yep.
Because you did this, you got an entire video published on Logan Paul's page, essentially.
Yep.
With no commitment, no contract.
No,
nothing.
he's a good dude.
He must be.
He is.
I mean, but I think also your music's really good, and he really enjoyed the music himself, and so it was worth it to him.
Yeah, I think when you're confident in what you can do, you connect with other people that are too.
So you really achieved your goal in going out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you made a huge power move for you. Let's talk about some of the results, if you're comfortable, on your platforms of just that one moment to really show the power to our audience of just one special collaboration.
Yeah, so that video got me 7,000 followers on Instagram, 6,000 subs on YouTube, which I daily vlog. I'm on day 147 today.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ooh, we're
Nappy
happy to be a
Vlogs.
part of that
Yeah.
vlog.
Hashtag Nappy Vlogs. So because of the consistency of the vlogs, then I'm able to hit the numbers to take my channel to the next level. And so he totally spiked my social media. And now I have real engaged fans.
Wow. So
Mhm.
over 15,000 new subscribers to
Mhm.
you on all platforms, essentially,
yeah.
about that. And then just the exposure, the
Mhm.
long-term exposure that it's going to create, I'm sure.
And people that just instantly became engaging
Mhm.
followers.
And then fans.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's
Because there's a lot of big followings that have no engagement with,
Mhm.
and then that leads to no results. If
Mhm.
you're trying to sell a product, if you're trying to spread a message, but there's no engagement, that big number really doesn't mean anything.
Mhm.
So I have goals set in place to keep raising my followings, but because of that, these engaged followers have really made a difference. They stream my music, they pay attention. So it's nice.
That's organic growth at
Mhm.
its finest. And
Yeah.
it's really cool because you didn't pay for followers. And that's where you get the lack of engaged followers. If you
Mhm.
really earn them in creative ways, like putting yourself out there like that, which I'm like shocked and amazed by that because I couldn't have done that. It's cool to see the type of growth you can have from that.
Yeah. I almost was starting to lose faith. Like, is there any way you can really organically grow? But there is. You just got to be prepared at all times.
Well, that story just blows my mind. Make sure you go to @Nappi Music on all platforms, right?
Yep.
So you can watch the full bit of that video because I think it really does its justice if you watch the full thing. I think we're going to take things mobile for a live performance now before we jump into the meat of the content in our podcast.
That's right. I'm super excited to take you guys on a mobile live stream. Had to steal the spotlight for a second. I love being the producer, but you know what's even more fun too? Switching between a studio live stream to a mobile live stream back to the podcast. So we'd love for you guys to come along with us. Casey, do you want to hand me that backpack? And we're going to go ahead and
Great. You've
and do
even
this.
forced
Case,
her
watch out
into
on the
doing
gun.
stuff.
Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and switch to this. Thank you. Put the backpack on, and Mike is going to bring us through Westchester, right? Would you mind being the tour guide of the Westchester tour guide?
It would be a pleasure.
Oh, I love that bag.
And I'll bring my guitar and then we'll decide on the spot and do a little performance.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
So we're IRL right now.
We should be.
Okay, let me grab. So I'm going to give my cell phone to all of our friends in the chat.
Yep, we're good.
And I will be chatting on YouTube.
All right. And just double check, make sure you got audio on the IRL. It should be all good though.
Okay, I'll catch up with
And you got the overlay, right? All right.
StreamGeeks is the only.
You can turn your other mic off, by the way. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Let me leave it on the table.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're live. So StreamGeeks is the only place like this in Westchester, and it's just amazing. They're so ahead of the times. It's so cool to have professionals to connect with on these topics because it's not everyone's hip to the game of streaming and what's
I'll be hip to the hop.
Yeah, you can.
So we're good, Tess. You definitely you heard the audio. We're good to go.
Don't worry, they can hear
This is not our first live stream, right?
Kind of.
So this is the podcast studio here, by the way. So
We're
we
bringing
will
out
be
old
coming back
Trusty.
here soon enough.
She was a little rusty.
She was a little, she was a little rusty, but we got back in. By the way, speaking of a little rusty, I am getting WD-40 for these.
You mean you don't like this sound?
No, I don't like that sound hearing it every day.
Woo!
Nice and warm out here.
It's hot, humid, and muggy out here in suburban Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's cool because Mike Nappi's actually a local to Westchester. He's actually friends with Michael. So it's nice to kind of know somebody who's doing something similar, yet different, and that we can share that experience with you guys. So I will be chatting on YouTube because everybody can be there and I can't be everywhere. So let's do it.
Walking through my favorite town in the world, Westchester, PA.
Even after being in LA and
Even
all
after
that?
being in LA.
Wow.
Yeah, this town's special. It's real, it's old, so much history. So much fun. I went to college here.
Same.
Yeah?
Represented WCU.
Yay. So did
And
Casey.
Delco for a little bit,
Yeah. For real?
but no shame in
Did
that.
we talk about that already? Or
I don't know. I'm from media.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Upper Darby.
Oh, you are? Oh, that's real Delco.
Yeah.
That's legit
That's the
Delco.
Shout out Upper Darby. That's as Delco as it gets. But anyway, here we are
I'm
in
from bougie
Westchester.
Delco.
I'm the raw Delco.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
Yeah. Beverly Hills Middle School. All right, so this town's awesome. It's really old. Lots of cool historic establishments we've done here. Bam did a lot of filming here. Jackass and Viva la Bam. So it's cool that there's a new generation of people that care about filming and streaming to carry the legacy forward. Because this town is special.
Don't you feel like it's like way more popular or something right now too than ever?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like, I mean, it's always been a cool place, but it's like really exploding.
Yeah, and the college keeps growing.
Yep.
And it's expanded like blocks down. You know, that comes with. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, it's expanding big time. Big time.
By the way, for those of you guys, hopefully you guys can hear us. I forgot I have a microphone. Forgot my mic. It's all right. It's all good, especially for the live performance. I'm a little bit upset that I didn't
Do you
get
want me to
it.
go back?
It's okay.
You sure?
It's all right.
They'll be able to hear him, but it would be so much better.
It's okay.
All right.
No, it's all good.
Oh.
The microphone on this is legit. It's just our audience is very technical, so sometimes they're like, we need it to be like amazing, but woo! See, look at that. Boom.
Got
He's doing tricks for you.
Yeah.
And that was free entertainment right there. Okay, they're saying the mic's not bad.
We're heading to the center of the town, eh? Where the Christmas parade is.
Yes, I think we're going to go to the old courthouse.
Yeah.
Hey, John. Hey, Chad. Hey, Brittany. Cleveland in the house.
That's the Lincoln Room right there.
Oh, that's an important one.
Yeah. So the Lincoln Room, the people that had the biggest influential piece of press for Abraham Lincoln's election to the presidency lived in Westchester next door to some of the people that conspired for his death. And that Lincoln Room explains it all here in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
I never knew that.
It's a real story.
And that is all made up.
No.
I'm kidding.
None.
I'm kidding. Wait, so you're saying they lived in that house?
They lived
Or
on
they
that
worked-
block. That house like has the art, has the proof.
Wow. So they lived on that block. So they were essentially the campaigners for Lincoln's presidency. They lived next to the same people that assassinated him.
That were a part of the team that they put it
Okay, they were
together.
conspiring.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. This town is old.
Does this work for your location?
Yeah.
Setting the stage, no pun intended.
Boom.
So, should we go vicious on it?
Yeah.
Should I sit? Stand? What do we think? StreamGeeks, should I sit or stand?
But so you like standing, I would imagine. I'm just getting close for the audio.
Yeah, no, I figured. Bacon or speaking to? All right. Well, this one's a mouthful. Good thing I do cardio. It's basically letting you know that anything you do, anything you want, you can speak into existence. Let me use this one. Feels pain every month, champagne in a mug and a bung, not a blunt, not pain for the buzz, but a lean from a buzz, come up with the bugs and knock out a dope from my broke ass stash from mom, new tips, no more trash line, girlfriend's a fashion, not kind, I'm manifesting everything I ever wished for, and I'll do it again and again and again, never forget, my priorities are family and friends, food to eat, a place to sleep, I move the streets, salute the streets, it don't mean I move in the streets, but it taught me more than my degree, everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence, everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence, everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence, yeah.
knowledge. I wish for that and got that. Go on tour with a rock band. I wish for that and got that too. Studio in my home. I wish for that and got that. For the best, so I get the respect I wish for. I got that too. Still ain't without work ethic. I'm in debt, but I'm impressive. Cause I'm the best with never letting a lack of sleep of my depression. Start to mess with when I'm getting endorsements and some big investments. Nothing less than a couple million. I suggest a couple billy. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Yeah. I wanna be on the Tonight Show, the Today Show, Sway Show. Cook a beat on Rachel Ray's show and play so. Great on Saturday Night Live, it's viral when they go in a train boat on the plain road. Listen to me on the way home. I really want to be on GGN. In my dreams, I see me in a chair next to the Double J with some J. Grammys, MTV Awards, my shelf's empty awaiting yours. Invitation to the lake of floor. So save me more. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Whoa. I'm living so living cause I haven't in it committed the written to giving my winning. Just to be losing confusion surrounded by sin and the evils want me to give it. Industry sick and it feeds up on profits and sells with it. And it needs you to cop it. I needed to stop. It's a disease and music's my antibiotic. I got it. Doctors are lying. Everyone's spying. Frequencies keep you and me hiding. Fear and sonically putting our ears in the media's controlling our minds. Nothing is real, not even the rise. Hackers are paid to be crime. We buy it. It's under a spell. It's stories of crime. All of the innocent dying. That's why I put it in my rhymes. That's why I don't judge who did time. That's why I'm not on American Idol. That's not what Americans fight for. That's why my name is Michael. To fight for the light on the mic and not to be spiteful when I'm right or my life will recycle. And as much as they say they want to help, when I say okay, nothing is there. How do you represent culture by putting the voice of the people up on a shelf? If I'm an angel, fell from hell and the leaders had me convinced I'd sail. Only I leave the MC that blessed me with knowledge yourself. Man, I can't take that fake rap. Bringos think they're great at I break crap. That Janie Cat that this white boy really just say that. Who, me? No, him. Him, and him. And I know that by me saying that what type of that I am in. If I don't, I ain't hip-hop. Been working hard to make this stop. And I'm sick of that stuff that gets all the big funds. Poor and righteous, the war I'm fighting is more exciting. The more I'm liking, what's more exciting? Being sure I'm liking. Or poor and righteous, rapping just ain't rhyming. Locking a beat and timing. But if I gotta mime it, I'll show it. Baby, I live it. It ain't a fad and it can't be written. That's a fact, that's a rap's a gift. You don't rap then rap my gifts. You don't know how I practice this. Lived on snacks, bagging chips. Now I'm after this and they're after this and they should be at home practicing. The rapping's blasphemous, it said. It's cancerous and I'm mad. This game is fake and I'm trapped within. Ooh, I'm an activist. That say they are neighbors, such they are kings, such they are able. Suck them out while I'm on the table. Rip them out when I flip through the cable. I'm not from my dog to the stable. I'm off the pick that goes off of the fable. Going the shop with the top of my face still. Is he really talking about race still? It's the reason we don't get the same bill. Isn't about who can say real. Truth isn't about pay steals, cocaine wheels, or slave deals. I made meals on my pay field. How the can you say I ain't real? I stay real. And I watched all them try to make seals around my independence. Thought I was proud, wouldn't get it. I'm not an artist that's beheaded. Don't want my art though once I'm dead, but they're begging once I get in. Been starving just to be letting be for the artist. We keep forgetting I am a star, but need to be kept. But what's in the heart? Not to be swept with the rejects. It's that industry that needs to be on that mother reject list. You reject this or suggest it to be next this? Or I suggest that you recognize who one of the best is. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. Everything I'm wishing for, I speak it in existence. He died shortly after of heat stroke, right there by Old Glory.
Wow,
No,
that
good.
was incredible.
I want to go hard for StreamGeeks.
Wow. Let's get you back in the AC, brother.
No doubt.
That was fun.
All
What do you think, Tess?
Now it's like with the latency.
Be honest.
It's just getting to you guys in the chat.
Good.
So now I'm getting reactions on coming.
Nice.
Oh, I see the yeah, because there's a latency. All right, I'm gonna stop this. Whoa! And you know what's really cool too? We've only been broadcasting for 25 minutes.
Cool.
You killed it.
So we've already got a live interview,
Virtual
a live
class.
performance, and now we have to do our podcast.
get you a glass of water. Remember, I'm on YouTube right now. We're going to get back to the studio, jump into the podcast area, and dive into the meat of how our friend and fellow, I guess I should say fellow influencer, our friend and influencer is growing his brand organically online.
Yeah. And if you're thinking out there, you know, we're a professional business or we are someone who might not be able to do the vlogging and the influencers, it's something to think about. All the big companies are using influencers, but are the small businesses jumping on board and doing vlogging and showing a human side of their business? That's what we're doing here, right? StreamGeeks is a professional business. So we're working on that now.
It's hard to walk and talk and stream and chat, okay? That's why we almost.
I see,
this
you're
is
chatting.
a dangerous job out here.
It is. This is the street that I usually get run over on. So let's,
Almost run over.
We've got
okay?
the green, so we're good. Wow.
We were talking about getting looked at funny walking around the streets with a camera all the time, but apparently if we go stream in LA, nobody will look at us funny.
In California, it's like normal. People look at you funny if you're not streaming.
Let us know in the chat.
What you
Has
think?
anybody ever given you a funny look or yelled at you for streaming or vlogging in public?
Yep. And it was a very successful stream so far. And the point of the show in a little bit is the behind the scenes look. So hopefully you guys got a good look behind the scenes of what goes on from our studio. I threw in a lot of behind the scenes shots. But I also got a chance to flex my producer muscles, and it was really fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I was like jumping back and forth.
You were like,
I even got on camera.
You were like intense today. You're like, Tess, you got my squares.
Yeah.
You're like, where's that
It's like,
overlay
if we're going to do
at?
this, we need to do this
I
right.
was like, oh, look at him in the producer's seat.
Yeah, and that's usually Mike, and then like the last 2 seconds are going by, and it's like, oh, it's time to stream. So we're just about back at our office. I think it's nice to get out of the office, but it wasn't far. It was just a block.
No, we got a nice little treat of a live performance.
A live performance, and it's really the center of downtown, so that was a lot of fun. And then we're going to roll right into our office. Okay, I see.
What can we do?
And
do you have the NDI feed from the podcast studio going back?
I do. I have to go back there and do that, so you guys all get to see how we're doing this.
I will get the team sitting down.
Get everyone settled and get them some water. And I'll switch the feed over to the podcast. Come on in.
Oh, while he's streaming, he even gets the door.
Thank you.
Okay.
Get my laptop set up. And then we'll move into the podcast. So we are live right now. But this is sort of a transitional period that they get to be a part of.
So you guys get to see a little behind the scenes look at our studio really quickly before we transfer over to the podcast. Here's the studio for those of you who haven't seen it in a while. This is that tracking shot going super slow and smooth. I think it would have been better a little bit more zoomed out and a little further back. But you can see we just had our 2 desks. Here's all the lighting. You can see all the lights that Tess and Mike have to deal with here. Lots of lights coming at us, and there's just some of the shots. Ceiling camera, Z-cam. This is our affordable Z-cam here, NDI Z-cam. Nice little wide-angle lens there. And then we have our ceiling camera shooting down. You can see this camera here I was using to get my personal shot there, the Z-cam. And then we have cameras on the wall, of course, getting those nice close-ups. Now, the last thing I'll show you guys before we move forward is I'll show you, here is Easy Live. So this is our cloud-based streaming solution that we use to switch between multiple RTMP streams. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch over to the podcast. So this is where they are right now. They're in the podcast studio, right? And we're pulling in their audio and video over NDI into this production studio. And then as soon as I hit this button, of course it will take a second maybe to switch from this to this. So start the podcast. All right.
The IRL overlay is still up, Paul. So once you've transitioned, there we go. And we are over here. All right, guys, welcome to the podcast. Now we're not recording yet, but This is the podcast studio. We haven't been over here in a while, so this is weird, but hopefully it's all working. With streaming, that's the first and foremost hope.
Looks good.
Yeah. I wonder if he wants me to wait to ask you anything important until we start recording. Let's see here. Pull up. Oh, here comes our producer in the house.
Hello. Hopefully everyone is doing well.
Got the feed.
Cool. I think we can go ahead and get started whenever you guys. You gonna handle the X keys, Tess?
Sure.
All right. Let's 1, 2, 3, go. The outro. Oh, is that the intro? Sorry, it's been so long. You're right. Sorry, it's been so long.
Welcome to the Post-Show Podcast with your hosts, Paul Richards, Tess Protesto, and Michael Luttermoser. Let's talk shop.
It's kind of funny now.
I am so sorry I screwed that up. All right, let's just, for the recorded podcast that goes out to iTunes.
All right,
let's
audience.
start
We're
one more
doing this
time.
again. You guys get to see the screw-ups, our true selves.
Hello and welcome to the StreamGeeks podcast. Today we have Mike Nappi and we're talking about influencer marketing, and we have a special guest, Casey Nappi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Post-Show Podcast with your hosts, Paul Richards, Tess Protesto, and Michael Luttermoser. Let's talk shop.
Welcome.
You can be the interim Mike for today.
That's an honor. Mike is a pro.
Aww.
So we've live streamed now a short interview between Mike and Tess. I got to be the producer today. Then we went mobile. We used our live use solo. We went to the center of town. Mike did a live performance. And now we're back in the podcast studio. And Mike has promised to answer some of your burning questions out there, guys, about being an influencer. It really is a new thing. I mean, I can't put a number of billions of dollars on it, but billions of dollars are being spent on, I don't want to say kids with smartphones or like YouTubers, right? Or Twitch stars, but this did not exist 5 years ago.
No, it didn't.
So that's just what I'm trying to say. It just did not exist. And now brands, businesses are trying to get in on it because it's more authentic. It fits with the social media. Hey, this is real. It's not like, for example, it's one of the things I tell some of our clients is like, gone are the days that a company can just create a commercial where the company looks perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like here's a glass window and it never shatters kind of thing. It's like, we're so perfect and our product never has any issues and we're amazing. People don't connect with that anymore. People connect with Casey Neistat skateboarding down the street, and then they want to wear the clothes that he wears. They want to use the skateboard he wears because it's all more authentic, I think.
100%.
So I think that's the world we're living in, just to set the stage. Go.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is your performance. That was really amazing.
Thanks.
And clearly very passionate. And Julia, who you guys will learn about soon, brought up the question, which I thought was great. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, musically, I'd have to give it, overall, it's a little cliche, but the rawness to Jimi Hendrix. Just, you would hear Jimi Hendrix live performances and there would be like out of tune, there would be mistakes, but didn't matter because people loved it. Just like what you're saying, it's even more like that today. People connect with things that aren't perfect. I guess because nothing's perfect. But it's really interesting to really see it firsthand and do those tests. So the rawness of Jimi Hendrix, and then I guess also someone like Pharrell, who produces and writes in so many different genres, you know, because that's like the rawness of me. And then, of course, the lyricism of Eminem. So that trio. Because between that trio, those three really did whatever they wanted to and just brought 100% commitment in it, and it worked.
And between like the three of them, you kind of get like a Mike Nappi genre.
Yeah.
Because so many artists now, and I don't want to label you being like this, but are like in a genre that's just spilling onto other, like there's no specific genre, and you don't necessarily have to put yourself in a genre.
Yep.
Because there's a little bit of rap. Julia noted there's a little bit of like bluegrass, like folky music. There's a little bit of rock. So it's really interesting. And that's the kind of music that I am into. Like you mentioned Pete earlier.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the blend.
Cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm driven towards naturally and organically, is that blend. And it's interesting because, I mean, music always evolves. If you just look at the history of American music, starting from like rock, and then there's all the subcategories too, but blues, rock, jazz, funk, up through the 80s, then go back a little bit, disco. Then it eventually morphed into hip hop and then grunge at the same time. But that's kind of dated now. We're experiencing the new evolution of music, and it's combining the things we grew up on now, which makes it extra spectacular to witness. You know? So I'm curious what the new music's going to be called, because it won't.
Right.
It won't be.
Are they going to name it?
Have to. Every 20 years, new music is named.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you sing, Casey?
I do not.
You don't?
No.
You do.
No, I do not.
She does.
Not
She's
well,
been on a
and not
couple.
professionally.
She's been on a couple B-sides though.
Really?
Classic Nappi music B-sides. Yeah.
Christmas music. I'll
Yeah.
sing Christmas music.
No.
On your Christmas album.
Yeah. No. But it was original. But she's a big ear behind. She tells me straight up, like, you need to record that again.
Your partner can be honest with you.
Yep. You need that.
Yeah, it's sometimes too honest, but it's mostly for the best, I think.
Yep.
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for our podcast listeners who might not have watched the live stream, can we just catch them up real quick about how we first
Good
met
point.
Mike? So the first time we met Mike, came into the studio briefly, but we live streamed a concert for you at Bam's Castle, Castle La Bam. He threw this big party, and there was a lot of things that play into that, this conversation. One is Bam's a huge influencer on social media. He posted about this party like 2 or 3 days before the party. So if you want to know the power of social media, he's got like 5 million followers. They're obviously active. 2,000 or 3,000 people show up to his house in 2 days with 2 days notice?
On a weekday.
On a weekday, right?
On a Monday.
On a Monday or something?
Yep.
Crazy. So there's the power of it, but also tying into your music conversation. So here's Tess and I trying to live stream this with Mike and my brother. We have some PTZ optics cameras, and we're trying to get the right angles, and the whole point of the party was to tear the ramps down. So we're on top of a ramp, and we're wondering, are they going to tear down?
Like, when does the tearing down start to happen?
Like what we're standing
Do we want
on
to be
right
here
now?
for that?
And there was thousands of kids in there, so it was really like shaking, and it was just mayhem.
Holy moly!
But through that, we got some footage that I have to say is just like super raw. Like, there you are. The audio wasn't perfect. The video wasn't perfect, but there were hundreds and hundreds of kids just rocking out to your music. So that sounds something like what you're saying, and maybe an early Jimi Hendrix style, if you will, where it's like it felt really raw.
Yeah.
Those people were real into it too. Like they were
really
feeling it was really good.
Yeah, that rawness. I've spent so much time too perfecting audio production, when you're putting out records and music. But there's something to that raw. People just feel it. Can't deny it.
And this is interesting. I was just realizing that Bam did that event because he knew that, or did he not know that if he just put the word out there that things would turn out that way?
He knew.
He knew his power in that. And that's the interesting point of the topic today, is the power that influencers do bring. And you saw that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to go on WMMR because of
Preston
that, right?
And Steve,
Yeah, promoting that event in itself. And we're just really wondering today about your experiences working with growing yourself online, and then how do influencers play in that? Is it wrong to exploit an influencer? Is it beneficial to both the influencer and the person looking for the attention from that? What's your take?
It's the new way, and it's not wrong. It's like modern television, or a billboard. Instead of putting things up on a billboard or a TV or a newspaper, which less people pay attention to now, you go to the influencer. And if you are the influencer yourself, you're aware of the work it takes to get there, and then the power there is with the opportunities you have with outside brands as well as building your brand. I think it's a real symbiotic relationship.
That's what I think works so well about it, is you usually have something to offer someone in return for them working with you. So like you said, it's a two-way street, and I think that's where the power lies within that.
Yeah. I think I always, if I can, try to develop a real organic relationship with the people.
Yeah.
You know, because it can get fishy.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to ever come off like you're trying to use somebody.
Because that's just not right in itself. So
Right.
It's like,
People do it though. You know, of course, people do it. But yeah, building relationships, being a good person, it's a longer road, but you know, you end up gaining a lot more like strong relationships you can depend on.
and we talked about the Logan Paul incident or
Yeah.
event on your channel that really just grew you to over 15,000 subs. Or you earned what did you say? 14 or 15,000 followers, subscribers, what have you, from a simple collaboration that you never knew was even going to happen. It's not
Yep.
like you reached out. It was a spur of the moment connection that you made, and you were able to get a lot of traction from that. How do you seek out influencers as somebody trying to promote yourself or your talent?
I just stay aware. That's the key. You have to just be aware of what is the evolution that's happening. If you're going to say that this is the field you're going to be in, you have to do your homework. You have to study who are the influencers. They, you know, watch their YouTube videos. Maybe not, you know, if you don't have time for every single one, but maybe a couple minutes of every single one. You know, just look at their thumbnails, look at how they're doing things, and then that gives you an organic way to talk with them when you meet them too. If you have respect for what they do, you might not like their content, but you can't deny if a station or a channel is blowing up that there's work put into that. And if it's your field, you should respect other people that are putting in that work, even if you don't enjoy the content. So for me, I try to approach it like they're an equal, but in a short amount of time, prove that I'm not going to waste their time or use them, but just kind of try to talk about something we have in common with, regardless of subs.
I'll say from a business perspective, you know, I'm actually constantly looking for influencers to work with. And obviously it's all about their audience. So a lot of our customers are churches, and there's 4 or 5 really big influencers in the church market. And, you know, I thought it was a huge market. And I want to say the word exploit sounds bad, but I know that my competitors aren't. You know, I know that my competitors are not looking at influencers and saying, "Hey, can we work with you?" Now the world is changing. Like, there's influencer agencies now. Like, you can go to, if you're a big company, you say, you know, I've got $1 million to throw at influencer marketing. I believe in it, but I don't have time to work with every single one individually. You can just give $1 million to the influencer agency, and they'll just parse it out in the best way possible. Make sure everything's authentic, obviously. So on a very small scale, I've worked with 4 or 5 influencers in the tech space, small YouTubers, 10, 20,000 subscribers, and they have a humongous authentic impact. I've also worked with some people that have 100 and 200,000 subscribers who get no engagement. And it's like, what happened? So it is interesting how I know one guy, he had like Jake, I forget his last name. Goslin from Churchfront. He had like 15,000 a year ago when we first started working with him. Now he's got 50. But you can just tell every time he drops something, everyone's just like chitter chatter. And I feel like the YouTube algorithm knows. It's like you can't fake it. Like, you've got 1 million subscribers, but no one's chit chatting in the comments. YouTube's not gonna make it go viral.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not about the amount of people engaging or watching, but how much that the small amount of people are engaging and watching and committed to your brand.
Yep. And responding to the comments when you're growing. Like, I understand maybe people that are in the millions of followers and stuff, they might not even have time, but when you're growing, respond to those comments.
Yeah, I remember Gary Vee saying that he would stay up till 3 a.m. every night, just making sure he responded to every Instagram or tweet or anything that came in. I feel like there's this access to influencers and people of influence. This is such a buzzword. I feel so cliche saying it at this point.
I know, it's just the way it is
but
now.
It just is. I mean, with the power of like DMing somebody, it's like you can just direct message any celebrity or person of value in your industry. So I feel like there's a better access to collaborations.
Definitely.
And the more prepared you are, the better chance you have of getting a reaction.
And you seem to seek out opportunities. Like, you don't just like wait for things to come to you. Like, you went to California not knowing exactly what was going to happen, but just knowing that putting yourself out there, as scary as that might be, would potentially lead to something big. And I think that you hit the nail on the head.
Thanks. Yeah. You just got to master your own craft. Everyone has like an avenue of which they're trying to pursue, even if all of the thing we have in common is social media. You know, you have a thing.
Yeah.
And make sure you know that thing, and then things will happen. It's a lot of things.
Brittany's saying Casey's such a supportive wife.
She sure is.
And look at her in here, ride or die. She's sitting with you on a podcast on a Monday afternoon.
Yeah, but she's a big reason behind a lot of this. Yeah. From the home to, she works her butt off. She's a boss. And supports my crazy dreams. But we're getting there. We're doing it. Yeah, we're starting to see different states, venues and stuff. It's cool. Yeah. Teamwork. Last thing I'll say, I'm sorry. Behind every good influencer or artist, there's usually a really good team. It's hardly ever.
I believe it. A crew.
I started to see them in LA too. I mean, it makes sense. They want to be pro. There's nothing wrong with it. But like a lot of the influencers have full crews every day.
Really? Just handling their social posts and
shoots.
And shoots.
Even the shoots that look like they're selfie. It's a full crew.
What?
Yeah.
How is that even working?
Lighting, coordination.
Well, yeah, the lighting's
got to
but
get
nobody's
lunch.
holding the selfie stick for them, are they?
No, they'll but it'll probably be a scheduled selfie stick shoot.
Right, and people around them with lights and maybe a better microphone or something.
SD card is full. Just hand it to the person, get a new one.
Making sure that they don't cross the street and almost get hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as simple as that. It's an issue.
Yeah, it's the modern TV. It's the modern TV. It's the modern.
Well, definitely, YouTube accounts for so much more than television. Tess and I go to the world's largest broadcast show every year, and the show is growing, but it's not the television side that's growing. It's the Facebook Pavilion, it's the Google Cloud, it's the Amazon Web Services, the Twitch, the esports. That's what's growing. Television is just, and also radio is slowly getting smaller and smaller too. But that's interesting because podcasting is growing. So it's almost like traditional radio is getting smaller, podcasting is getting bigger. Traditional television is getting smaller, live streaming is getting bigger. But it's all happening so fast. I mean, Tess started 3 years ago. That was when Facebook Live started. Imagine a world 3 years ago, Facebook Live did not exist.
Wow.
Imagine how much that changed. Now, it's the younger demographics, though. The people who still watch television are either sports fans, because that's the only place they can get sports still, even though Amazon's now adding sports. And
man. Did I hit you?
who's the other ones? It's basically like 50s and up, 60s and up watch television. And
well, now that Game of Thrones is over, then you don't even need HBO anymore.
I
know. But so, and I mean, I just looking from my perspective, the interesting thing is the ride, because you're dedicating yourself to something that you believe in, and then you had a huge breakthrough. And I want to look at this from both sides of the coin. So you're a creator, right? And you had this humongous booth. I want to know what that felt like. And then from a business perspective, we've had some similar success sometimes where we tried something that was new, innovative, and different, and it had a huge payoff. And I feel like that's where the big payoffs are. I don't like personally going after a whale, and you couldn't go to Coachella and be like, I know that I'm going to have a huge YouTuber make a video about me. There's no way you could go into that thought process. But what was it like the day after when you found out that what was going on?
It was nuts. We were on the phone all day because she was in Pennsylvania, I was in California, and we were just refreshing
all day.
Yeah.
Really? And the numbers were just How did you find out that there was going to be a video including you?
He tagged me.
So he made the video and just tagged you, and then you were like, wait, did Logan Paul just tag me in something?
Yep, on Instagram and YouTube, and that was just like...
Did your heart drop through the floor and into
actually, I went into
earth?
shock, and I went into preparation mode, like, what do I have to do? I delayed...
How can I leverage this?
Yeah, respectfully leverage it,
right.
So I kind of delayed my emotions until recently, really.
You spoke to your trusted advisor.
Yeah.
I released a couple more songs on Spotify, and I was able to grow my numbers on that. And I also stepped back and saw that this is great growth, but right now the main focus still has to be organic building, continue to make content and grow these views. And now my numbers have grown to a point where I'm starting to work with different companies and do different brand deals just based on the weird things I do, like make a beat with a random object, you know.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So that feeling though, I knew at that moment I should just keep grinding, and I did that, and the numbers consistently keep moving up. And that was 2 months ago, but that feeling was nuts. It was nuts. It was really nuts to just see my people hitting me up that are from like every country still. Saying I've changed their life.
Really?
Yeah, they're so supportive.
So
They're
much mail now.
So
still
positive.
I probably got like still like not a lot, but like 100 new messages still, like every day, like from random people. Some people suffering from mental illness. Some people that grew up with a disability. Like these extreme stories where that thing helped them.
Wow. And I consider that organic still, because there was no paid promotion. You build a relationship with someone in some way, and
for sure.
And you
That's
didn't even
organic,
ask for anything. You didn't even ask for anything.
Nothing.
It just, that's organic.
Yeah. So it's like maintenance right now, and now I'm just sharpening up the things that I should be sharpening up. You know, the thumbnails. Anyone out there that's doing it, spend time on your thumbnails. Now I'm going back in time and fixing my thumbnails.
You are.
Yeah.
You should probably do it.
No, your thumbnail game's nice.
Tess, you do the thumbnails, Tess.
I like your
Yeah, but
thumbnails.
it's not consistent theme or anything. So.
Mine either. Right now, mine's terrible. And they do matter. So like those things I learned from people, you know, that I got to meet, Logan, and their thumbnails are incredible, you know. So yeah, that's how I felt afterwards. Because, you know, I can't get too excited, because look at Logan from doing whatever, you know, his content on YouTube. His numbers are hard to beat. So it's like, I can be excited, but I know I'm on the right page. Time to keep working. You know, every morning, wake up, edit a vlog, a nappy vlog, every morning.
Yeah, and so from a business perspective, in case there's some businesses listening, there's a few times when we've worked with influencers, and in the early days, I'll say the past couple of years, sometimes you can just send them a free product and they're willing to like review it or check it out. And
in our industry with tech,
there was definitely Jake from Churchfront, like just to give him a camera, and his video I think got like over 100,000 views, all the perfect type of customer. And we don't do sales, so we don't hear like, oh, I'm buying this camera because I saw it on Jake's video. But I'm telling you, I do hear some, and I'm just like, wow, it's so authentic that people would like. You ever hear about like a YouTuber making a product review of some product that they like on Amazon, and now it's just like sold out on Amazon like permanently because the demand just spiked so fast that whoever the manufacturer was of this new, you know, gadget that did something are just like, what happened? Like we were selling 10 a week. Now we sold all of our stock for the entire year. Like what happened? Well, it was a YouTuber. Guess what? It happens. And I can't even explain the psychology of it because we'd be here all day. If it makes sense to you, as a business, and you have a product that fits into, basically there's a YouTuber for everything now, right? Yeah. So go out and find them. They're out there. I've found them. I have identified who I think is good and who's not. And I will say I've had bad experiences too, where these influencers get like, I'm not going to say they have a big ego, but I think they might, with all these fans, everyone telling them they love them and they're on this rock star path. And, you know, they might say, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then they never do. And then it's like a year later, I'm like, are you really going to do it? Yeah. Or you're not going to do it? Like, so.
And then you just lost $1,700.
And then you either paid the money or you gave them free something. And then it's just like, so I've been burned and had great experiences. And that I think is very common. I think that because it's this rising market of all these people who've got tons of success, and then everybody wants to work with Casey Neistat, you know what I mean? Yep. Like he literally turned it into mail time. Yep. Like he's like, here's mail time. Let me open up this $2,000 scooter somebody sent me. All right, let me put it in the corner. Let me open up this package of like organic fruit that I'm getting from Hawaii. Like, and he just opens up the stuff, and then he's like, all right, well, anyway, now I'm gonna go skateboard down the street. But like, the reason why people are sending him that stuff is just so that they could open it on the vlog. Like, and I didn't want to be another one of those guys, like, you know, we manufacture cameras, sending him a camera, and he's like, hey, here's a camera, throw it that way. Like, that probably doesn't do so much. It's got to be like an authentic, like, fit. Like, I thought, you know, maybe, because apparently Casey Neistat does want to get into more streaming, and he's getting into Twitch, and I would like to work with him, but you have to figure out the right size of creator as a business that you can like financially or whatever support in the way that they Like they're either going to grow too big for you, where they're like, no, like for example, if you're like a rock star like Logan Paul or some of these other guys, they don't even want brand endorsements, right? Not necessarily. Like I do think if they've got a Coca-Cola there, it's being paid for. You know, they're getting that money, but they just want to like show it. Like they don't want to be like sellouts. Like, there's this fine line. So it's difficult for businesses to find it, and I think that's why they have these influencer agencies, because there's a reason. Like you have to do so much research to find the right fit and the right person and the right audience and make sure it clicks and make sure that they're okay with, because a lot of these rising stars aren't even sure if they're okay with selling out. You know, they're not sure. You know, like, am I like you just said you just finally monetized your YouTube? Like, congratulations! I'm glad you are.
Thank
but
you.
I think I know Casey Neistat, remember, said he didn't hit the monetization button until he hit 100 million views or something, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's people. Everyone has their own. Like, because it's just so new. There's no guidebook for this. You know. Anyway, just from a business
I wonder if
standpoint,
that's true. I get it, because you don't want to give your fans. I love Casey Neistat too.
Ads. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I wonder if he really did that.
Here's what he said.
But what does that exactly mean? You're going to start putting commercials
Casey
in your
Neistat
content?
was independently wealthy from HBO before he even started YouTube.
Wait, well, he was? From what?
And he was just thinking about YouTube as a way to like gather an audience to help him launch his next movie if and when it ever happened.
Is that how he started? I never knew this.
Yeah, he sold an HBO show.
What HBO show?
It's called The Neistat Brothers, and it's about him and his brother.
I'm Googling
before
that.
he became a YouTube star, and then he started making like short videos that went viral about, you know, why Apple won't fix their iPhone charger, or like why there's not enough bike lanes in New York City, and then like, you know, what it's like to have a $100,000 airplane ride from New York to Saudi Arabia or something, and these things were blowing up. But yeah, I mean, the other thing that creators do that I think they do really successful is create their own brands. You know, their own clothing brand. Like I think that's what Logan Paul has done, and I'm sure I think it's called like Maverick or something, and he's probably making tons of money from that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's the key. Even as an artist, any musicians or artists listening that are doing video marketing. Yeah, the merch.
There was a question in the chat I wanted to get to from Maggie. Do you feel that once an influencer helps you market yourself and your talents successfully, that you are even under more pressure to put out a good product or result content?
Yes, I do. I just never forget that my main talent is being an awesome music producer and excuse me, and performer. So I make it very clear in my blogs that it's the life of that. You know, so there's a lot more pressure, and yeah, there's a lot more pressure, but I had already been doing it consistently. I was on like day 79 of vlogging. So yeah, it's a good pressure though. It made me just realize I got to keep doing what I'm doing.
And where do you guys go from here as a team? Sorry, I might have cut you off.
No, it's cool. From here right now, like right now?
With where you're at right now with your music.
Oh, so
and your social following.
Right now we've been brainstorming a lot of cool YouTube stuff. And so we have a couple like different location shots we'd like to get throughout the summer, take advantage of the summer, and getting a lot of friend shots, doing different things around like the shore and on the East Coast while I'm here.
Are you like kind of a videographer?
She films a lot of me.
Yeah, I do a lot of filming.
Film it? Do you feel like you've learned a lot about that?
I learned how to make sure I press record because I messed it up once and I was like, I will never do that again. I'm so sorry.
That's a common mistake.
Yeah.
And then you do like a 15-minute bit or something.
It was actually like a stunt too. And I'm not a stunt guy.
He was, I don't remember what the situation was, but he was dressed as an Easter bunny in a giant onesie and he launched himself down our backyard hill and I didn't press record, so he had to do it again.
Yeah.
And it was,
broke his arm.
Yeah, it was like pretty much the worst time to not press record.
What was his face like?
He was trying really hard to stay nice.
Yeah.
He was really mad.
It's just like talking through my teeth like, next time, press record.
It's all good though.
Don't worry
Let's
about
just
it.
do it again.
Did you literally like get the camera and be like, oh, I want to see that?
Yeah.
And it was like, wait,
Yeah.
it's not here.
Because I'm not a stunt
forward,
guy.
backwards,
Like,
forwards.
yeah,
It
that's
was
exactly
bad.
what I did.
It's a very steep hill.
Throwing myself down a hill is like not my twist, but
Yeah.
it's all right. Live
Those
and learn.
jackass guys are rubbing off on you.
Yeah, just a little bit though. Like, those stunt, they're a whole different level of stunt. I just always remind myself what my strength is. You know, stick to what I'm good at.
It's funny because I know that you're actual friends with like that group of people, but I feel like you've like respected that relationship in a way where, I mean, I don't know. Did they ever try and get you to be on their stuff and you said no or something?
No, Bam is always super inviting. Like, I became friends with Bam while he was filming Jackass 3D, so most of their stuff that type of stuff had been recorded by the time we started really bonding. And now I really just focus on hanging out with him.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just, that's what I mean. It's
But
just a friendship.
he does awesome things. Like, he took me to meet Machine Gun Kelly a couple weeks ago.
Super cool.
Nice.
He's taken me to Finland. He's taken me.
What?
Yeah.
You're going to Finland?
Oh,
No,
I
they did.
already did.
You already did?
He put me.
I did.
He took me to Finland.
You didn't. Come on. Come on.
Couldn't go to that one.
I know.
You just need a bigger bag.
Yeah, but he's put me on tours and stuff. Yeah, so he helps me, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the friendship, and then the other stuff is a nice, generous move on his behalf.
One more question. Okay, 2 questions, 2 in 1. If you could collaborate on a music project, or I'm going to add influencer in there. Right now, besides the ones that you have so far, who would they be, and who are your biggest musical influences? You touched on that briefly at the beginning. Take your pick,
Kanye.
Kanye, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, for both probably. Overall, I know you asked me earlier, but we had been talking about live performance. Overall, Kanye. Yep, he is.
I don't get it.
I hear that a lot,
I just
actually.
don't get it. I don't know
When
why.
I
Maybe it's
ask
because I
a lot of
don't pay
musicians
attention
say
to his
that.
music.
He's produced a lot of hits too for
really?
other people. Yeah.
Okay, stuff that you wouldn't really know unless you research the industry and
Yeah.
things like that.
I would say him. You know, I respect everyone's opinion on everything. I could be wrong too. I just feel like he's accepting people to feel how they feel about him, but in reality, it's just this gigantic. I mean, he just took acting to a different type of screen. Some of the things that he said, I don't even agree with him, but I just feel like it's a character.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yep.
Just
Yeah, the
cashing in.
bizarreness kind of sometimes it just says some bizarre stuff or whatever. It's
Yeah.
all for a purpose.
But if
right?
he put out a song tomorrow, everyone would listen.
Yes, I would.
And that's
Even,
power.
and I'm confused about him, but I
Yeah.
would still listen because I'm confused. I would be like, so what is this about? Interesting.
And he's talented. He did some of Jay-Z's biggest hits, you know.
Really?
Yeah, before he even had his first album out. And so many labels denied him, which they have with me. But I've shown labels the stuff I did for Logan Paul. That's a real fact. I've shown them that. I've shown multiple music labels the thing I did for Logan Paul, and they said, get out of here. And then look what happened. You just... So that's why I relate to Kanye, because he went through that too.
And with digital stuff, I think it all depends on who's listening, who's watching.
Yep.
I think that Old Town Road kid, I think he was a social media person.
He's a genius.
Oh,
Yep. His new album just came out.
Yeah.
They're pioneering. I think he's going to be a pioneer in whatever that title is.
Yeah. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Lil Dicky.
Yeah. Lil Dicky's super creative.
He's just so funny.
So creative.
Yeah.
Great writer.
Matthew Keller. Is that a familiar name to you?
Yeah.
Okay. He said,
We have his artwork hanging in our house.
proud of this musical genius.
Matt Keller. He designed 2 pieces of art for our
Jack
house.
Nicholson?
Yep.
Oh, that's my favorite piece
We have
of art
like
I've ever owned.
We have like a
It's a
5-foot.
graffiti of the
Graffiti.
Here's Johnny from The Shining.
Really?
And black graffiti paint. Yeah, it's the only piece of art that hangs in our living room. It's
That
awesome.
doesn't keep you up at night.
Wow.
Nope.
Throw a towel in it.
Yeah. Real fast, speak into existence. We stare at that piece of art all the time, and then I very briefly met Jack Nicholson while I was over
You
there.
did?
And it was like I'm staring in my living room face right now. It was wild.
Did you have a picture to show him?
Well,
I
it's
didn't.
funny
Bummer.
because the second he said, I just saw Jack Nicholson, I shook his hand. I'm like, did you tell him that we have a framed picture of him? And Mike's like, oh my God,
Yeah,
I forgot.
I actually forgot. It was like this little event thing, and
You
I
were
just,
starstruck by it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I
would've
didn't
been.
want to annoy him. You know, I'm sure some
you
people.
always say that. I always ask you about it because you're always hanging with celebs. And,
Yeah.
you're just I don't know.
just don't want to annoy them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you never want to be like.
Ooh, I'm
sorry.
kicking someone.
I
Sorry.
think that's me. You just never want to annoy people. You just don't.
Kind of like we are annoying you. Probably.
You're not.
I'm just kidding. But seriously.
I think of us as equals, and on top of that, If you were annoying me, though, I wouldn't be here. But, I just got to respect
So
people.
this is the last visit we're going to be having.
Never.
Mike Nappi.
It's an honor to be on here. I know I keep repeating myself, but StreamGeeks is so ahead of so many people over here.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, grateful to be.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much. You just heard from Mike Nappi and his beautiful wife.
The Nappies.
The Nappies. The Napsters.
The Napsters. That might be a time. You don't want to go. Napsters, the old.
Nappy boy. Joe, send us a message.
Right.
And that will wrap up the stream. We are still live until Paul goes back to the main studio.
Podcast
And my computer
June
died.
24.
So sorry, chatters. I'm not able to respond. I hope you enjoyed our chat with Mr. Mike Nappi and his wife, Casey. Go follow at Nappy Music on all platforms.
And Nappy Music videos on YouTube.
And Nappy Music videos on YouTube.
Oh, man, I got a picture of somebody that I used to serve coffee to, my friend Bill.